The Miami Heat going forward are going to be one of the most terrifying teams in the entire NBA, and the rest of the NBA should be shivering in their boots. Now, no, I am not a Miami Heat fan. I'm not even from Florida or Miami or anything. I am from New Orleans, so I don't really have any invested interest in the Heat being good. I am just very high on what the future of their team is probably going to look like. Now, this isn't necessarily to say that I think they're going to be this beast team this year or win the finals in the next 2 years or something like that. No, but I'm just going to say why I think a lot of things are going for them going into the future, and why I think their future is a lot more brighter than a lot of people probably think as they currently are right now. And I have a few different reasons why I think this, so if that does sound interesting to you in this video, please watch it all the way through, hit the like button and subscribe button, I mean the episode word to me, and without further ado, and without rambling on too much, just get right into this video. So the first thing I really want to get into is going to be their insane front court potential that this team has. They legit have a potential to have the best front court in the entire NBA, as it is led by Bam Adebayo, who I don't think I really have to tell you who Bam Adebayo is. He's one of the best players in the entire league, and definitely one of the best big men in the entire league. And at only 27 years old, he is just now entering his prime, despite being an elite defensive player, while also being able to get you around 16 points per game as well. So Bam Adebayo has been, for a very long time at this point, a proven beast big man who is good enough to be a second or third option, especially on the defensive side of the ball, on a contending level team. And now that you paired that up with rookie Kel'el Ware, who they just drafted out of Indiana, he is looking like an absolute beast. As in the past, just a few games of his career, the last 13 games of this season, he is averaging 12.5 points per game, 1.2 blocks per game, 1.2 assists per game, and 9.7 rebounds per game on 30% shooting from the three-point line and 49% shooting from the field, and is showing unbelievable two-way potential. Defensively, he has the length and the mobility to really guard the 5 through really 3 positions pretty effectively. He's a great rim protector, and on top of that, his offensive game is out of this world for a 7-foot big man. He can spread the floor from the three-point line. He can do fadeaway shots. He can dunk the ball. He's a pick and roll threat while also being a pick and pop threat, and he's just an overall unbelievable partner to put alongside Bam Adebayo. And due to their two-way potentials, due to how talented both these players individually are, I think it definitely makes them one of the best front court duos in the entire NBA. And then even if you look at their small forward position is now held down by Andrew Wiggins, and Andrew Wiggins is still a very borderline good player. He's a borderline star level player is what I would say. He's just going to give you around 20 points per game, be a solid two-way guy, and I think Wiggins is 100% a starting level player on a contending level team. So I think as far as their front court is really concerned, Bam Adebayo, Kel'el Ware, and Andrew Wiggins is more than good enough going forward for them to be a high level team. And as they gel, as they build chemistry, as Kel'el Ware continues to improve, as he's only a rookie this year, they're going to get better and better, and they're going to be more efficient together. And I think they're going to be a very dangerous trio to deal with going forward. And the reason this frontcourt being elite is so important, in my opinion, is because it kind of makes them only one true piece away from being a contender once again. Because if you combine their elite frontcourt that they have right now, and then you combine the fact that they already have Tyler Hero, who's becoming a legit star level player. He made the All-Star game this year. He's dropping 40 on a nightly basis. He's looking like a beast on the offensive side of the ball. They are legitimately one more backcourt partner away from them really being great contenders once again. Because if you got another potentially borderline star or even star level backcourt partner with Tyler Hero, I'm not sure how you stop them, because you'd have two very good guards with one of the best front courts in the NBA, and it's going to be very hard to deal with that, especially when you combine the fact that they have one of the best coaches in the NBA and Eric Spoelstra to really put it all together. So it's going to be very fun to see how they go about it, and with them only being one piece away, it's going to make their lives a lot easier in knowing exactly what they need, striving to get it and taking steps forward to filling that hole. And I think with how good Pat Riley has shown in the past and Eric Spoelstra's ability to coach up players, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're able to fill that hole pretty quickly in their backcourt and make them once again become true contenders. And naturally, with that being said, with them only being one piece away, you may ask, now how could they go about acquiring this final piece? And there's really two ways of them doing this, as I don't think the draft, although they are a good drafting team, is going to really fill it in the way they need it to be filled, where they need at least a high-level starter to fill that hole to really become a contender, and then that's just hoping that Kel'el Ware can develop into the star that he's looking like he may be able to become. But I don't think they're going to be able to draft that star, at least as late as they're probably going to have a pick going forward. So I think they're either going to have to do it through free agency or they're going to have to do it through a trade. Now, either one of these ways I think is pretty realistic for the Miami Heat. As in free agency, the Miami Heat are a very big market. They're a big free agency destination, on top of the fact that they're in a pretty good salary situation, as guys like Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and Andrew Wiggins are pretty much already locked up for the foreseeable future, with their other big pieces like Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez, and Nikola Jovic all being on rookie scale contracts, and probably no one but Khalil Ware and maybe Jaime Jaquez later in the future are going to be asking for gigantic contract extensions, and even those are going to be rookie level extensions, so those aren't going to be bank breaking either, so it's not like you have to prepare for those too much. So with really the main core of their roster already being locked up, or at least already being like accounted for of how much money they're going to cost you going into the foreseeable future, you're going to have money to kind of play around with in free agency, and there's a few different options you can go with if you're going to do it this season, as they have guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Malik Beasley, and even Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who are all unrestricted free agents going into this offseason. And that is just the unrestricted free agents. If you want to look into restricted free agents that you can realistically probably get, you're going to be looking at guys like Gary Harris, Trey Mann, Quentin Grimes, and even Markelle Fultz. Now, the reason I didn't mention them first is because obviously restricted free agents you don't fully control. The other team can elect to just keep them. That's the whole point of restricted free agency. And that's why I like to focus mainly on restricted free agents, because I think that is a lot more realistic and easier to pull off than it is to do the other one. And I would really say any of the unrestricted free agents that I mentioned, being Brogdon, Malik Beasley, or Nickeil Alexander-Walker, are all very gettable and would all fit the team very well, especially Alexander-Walker, because one doesn't think about him as being an elite player, but he's definitely a starting level shooting guard who plays defense very hard and can also score when he needs to. Brogdon's a veteran who's been in the league for a while. He can do what you need to. And Malik Beasley is an elite offensive player, so he can do what he needs to as well. And the reason I name these guys is because it is the all like guard/shooting guard positions that what Miami Heat is going to be looking to fill mainly. No, you could also try to get a traditional point guard in there, and there's a few options like Josh Giddey even, but even that's going to be a lot harder to find than it is going to be trying to fill a shooting guard position. And I don't think you want Tyler Hero not being your main ball handler with how much improvement he's been showing. So I think they're going to be better off looking for a veteran shooting guard who's a high-level starter, or even a young guy who has a kind of higher upside, and maybe go from there. And there's a lot of options they can go, even just through free agency. But if they don't choose to do it through free agency and they decide to do it through the trade, I think they're able to do that just as easily because they have a lot of trade assets on their roster. As in terms of tradable players and contracts they have on their roster, they have guys like Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, Kyle Anderson. You have Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez, Pele Larson, and then even Davion Mitchell. And then in terms of picks, you have your own first in 2026. You have 2 second-rounders in 2026 as well, on top of having your first-round picks through the 2028, all the way through the 2031 drafts as well. So you have a plethora of picks you can use. You have good tradable contracts you can use to fill the hole. And there's just a lot of different scenarios you can go. And I think with them being a free agent at destination, players probably not minding getting traded to a place like Miami. I think there's a lot going for them, and they should be able to fill this hole as they have multiple avenues they can do it through. And then even going back to looking at their roster as currently fits, they already have an elite two-way potential team. As like I said, Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware, they are the definition of elite two-way level players, and they're probably one of the best two-way duo front courts, if not the best two-way duo front court in the entire NBA right now. And Andrew Wiggins has also helped himself defensively a lot throughout his career. He started off being a horrible defender. He's gotten much better at that. He's a very solid defender, as well as being a good offensive player, and is also an extremely good two-way option at your small forward position. Davion Mitchell is already an elite defender. Now, yes, his offense is not fully there. He's still kind of young, so maybe his ceiling can get there, but he's definitely going to be more of a defender, but still, he's not incompetent on the offensive end either, so I would say he's still a pretty okay two-way player, definitely more leaning towards the defensive side of the ball, though. And then even Tyler Hero, definitely a much better offensive player than he is defender, but he's not an awful defender either, so although their backcourt may struggle to fit the two-way mold, I think they definitely kind of have one elite offensive player and one elite defensive player at least, so that kind of gives them two-way potential there. And then even off their bench, you have guys like Kyle Anderson and Nikola Jovic, both very solid two-way guys. Even Jaime Jaquez is a great two-way guy as well, so really even their bench has elite two-way potential, and any team that can be very high level on both sides of the ball is always going to find success in the win column, and that is exactly what the Miami Heat team has a gigantic ceiling in terms of being able to accomplish, of being one of the best two-way teams teams in the entire league. And really overall, hopefully all their players are able to develop and build high chemistry. If Tyler Hero can continue to be the number one option offensive player, Khalil Ware can continue to get better on both sides of the ball, Bam can continue his level of play, their offense is going to come, and we already know Miami Heat are always a very good, solid defensive team. So if their offense can just come along, this team has a very high ceiling and the future is extremely bright, especially if they're able to fill their shooting guard position or second guard position, however you want to look at it, in a very good way through free agency or through a trade. But unfortunately, guys, that's coming for this video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that Miami Heat have a very high ceiling? How good do you think they can be? Do you think they have a bright future? I want your thoughts in the comment section below. Any like point, like button, subscribe button, meaning that's a word to me. And I hope you have a blessed day because I had a blessed day. So you need a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.